Now, Stephen, that doesn't seem like a tough choice, but when your identity and mindset don't match up with your biology, it can be difficult to look in the mirror. Being transgender means you identify with the sex that you weren't born into.
I'm a part of the transgender community because my biological sex does not match up with my psychological sex.
Many people use college as a time to discover themselves. They try to find out who they are and what they stand for. Sophomore Hayden Carlberg says he knows who he is, and he's using these 4 years to introduce himself to everyone else.
I identify as male, and I dress as male.
But Carlberg was born a woman. He recently came out about his sexuality to the entire Western Illinois University community. He published an article in the Western Courier during Transgender Awareness Week.
It got the story out there that I'm just like everybody else on campus. I'm not somebody that's, a freak or somebody that's really different from anybody else.
It's trying to help society see me as how I identify.
Micah Griffin also came out last October.
When I try to think of life with my body now, I really don't see a very happy, fulfilling life. I feel like it'd be worth paying all that money and doing the surgery so I could feel more comfortable with myself.
Neither Carlberg or Griffin have undergone a sexual reassignment surgery, but they both made a major change in their life. Their names. Carlberg was born with the name Heather and Griffin Sarah. They are not legally changed, but their peers and professors call them by their preferred names. Almost 70 colleges across the nation allow students to change their name and gender on campus records. This past April, the Illinois Secretary of State changed its website to include information on how to change your gender on a state ID.
And we all have needs, and we certainly have the need for support.
Jess Scott works with the Center on Halsted in Chicago. It's an organization dedicated to building and strengthening the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer community. Scott also identifies with the transgender community, and so does his son.
I certainly have a lot of fear of what's in the future for my child. How will he be accepted or she be accepted?
But Scott says if you are a transgender, the first thing you need to do is accept yourself.
It really will set you free if you acknowledge who you are and are just honest with yourself. And it's not the end of the world. Really, there's a bright world out there for any transgender child or adult. There are many of us. There are more and more who are coming out.
Like Carlberg, who came out for himself, and for anyone struggling with identity issues.
They can read my story and understand that, they may be having the same feelings as I am. And that, they shouldn't have to hide it, that they can come out in the rural community and be okay.
Both Hayden and Micah say they would like to undergo sexual reassignment, but are waiting to see what their health insurance will cover. Jess is undergoing hormonal treatment. That's the first step in the surgical process. She hasn't decided whether or not she will go through with the surgery. Kristen Aguirre, KHQA News.